What is going on, Washington fans? It's your boy Josh Taylor, and we are back with the live streams on the channel. I'm stoked to be bringing these back, and hopefully many more Victory Mondays on the way. But I will be going live on Facebook, YouTube, and on my X account every Monday night, except for the next game. Obviously, we play the Bears on Monday night, so I'll be going live on Tuesday night to just break down everything we've been seeing. And guys, this Chargers win, I can't stress it enough. In my opinion, this is probably the biggest win I can remember for sure of the season. You know, the vibes were low. It seemed like the sky was falling after that Falcons game, and rightfully so. But finally, Jayden Daniels comes back, and it seems like we all love football again. Jayden Daniels just fixes everything. And guys, I'm excited to break this one down. Todd said, "Hey Josh, how's the new job? Love all the work I've been doing over at A to Z Sports, and I've been already doing a ton of articles on the win. So make sure you check out A to Z Sports.com. Check out the Commanders site. I'm the sole writer for the Commanders, so check out all of my content there. Haven't talked to you in a while. Commanders looked good yesterday. Jayden, Bill, Debo on defense, Quan Martin. Of course, Mike Samer still had a good little bounce back game. We'll talk about him. Jacob Martin looked good. Awesome win. Now focus on Chicago. Let's go. We're definitely focused on Chicago, but we're also going to talk about this win because, like I said, this was needed in the worst way possible. If you lose this game, I would hate to even know what the stream would be like tonight, but it's not the case. Jayden Daniels fixes everything. You know, we finally get this breakout game with Bill. You know, Jacory Krosky-Merritt. We've been waiting for the rookie. And man, Cliff Kingsbury, if you're listening to me, just run the ball. We've been begging you to run the ball. Lord Jurgen said Victory Monday. I love it. We love talking about some Victory Monday. Got to talk about Bill. Kid had a day. Absolutely. Random said, yo, Josh, it's been a minute. Welcome back, Random. Good to see you. Good to see you. Spooky Lukey. I like that. Getting a little festive. You know, we got the fall season coming. Spooky Lukey. Luke McCaffrey. Definitely going to talk about him. This is a guy that so many people wrote off this off season, like, oh, he's not going to do anything. It was a bad pick. Should have took Bucky Irving. Should have done this. Should have done that. And I told everyone, just give it time. It was 1 year. 1 year. Give Luke some time to develop, you know, find his groove in this offense. And it took, you know, Terry's contract situation, and now, of course, Terry's injury, Noah Brown's injury, and Luke McCaffrey getting those opportunities to show what he can do. That was a crazy catch. It was a great throw, but the adjustment, you know, fighting through the contact, he might not get the best separation. He might not be the best route runner, but if you can win those contested, you know, catches and you can win those battles down the field like that, Jayden Daniels is going to keep looking his way. I mean, it's what, three straight games now where we've seen Luke McCaffrey either score a touchdown, big kickoff returns, the downfield throw, like I said, right before halftime, which led, you know, to more points. That's what we need to see from Luke McCaffrey. Just give it some time. Give it some time. I love to see him, you know, having his little breakout party right there with Bill. Shop with Charles says, smash that like button. Definitely make sure you smash the like. Make sure you subscribe over on YouTube. Jordan McGee did really good. Club 100 TV says, I agree. And that's something I wrote about last week with the 3 things the Commanders need to do on defense. And one of them was play your young guys. I don't know if y'all listened to the Junkies radio, but Charles let me know that they were talking about that on the air, about that article I wrote about how Bobby Wagner played 100% of snaps against the Falcons, how Luvu played 100% of snaps against the Falcons. But where's Kane Medrano? Where's Jordan McGee? And it wasn't a ton of snaps, but Jordan McGee had a couple coverage plays, you know, nothing crazy. But in that red zone, that one tackle, which ultimately set up the interception, Jordan McGee, I was like, man, this is what I want to see, that read and react, the ability to diagnose the play. You see how he kind of follows the running back, kind of knows where he's going, got in the backfield and shut it down. That is what I wanted to see from Jordan McGee. You drafted these younger guys. Joe Witt Jr., play him. I know Bobby Wagner's a Hall of Famer. I get it. I know he's got the green dot. He is the leader of the team. But still, you got to play some of these young players and just let them learn. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. You know, we see Marshawn Lattimore making mistakes, and he's a veteran. Let some of these young guys, you know, really get the opportunity to prove, like, this is why you drafted me. Third and long situations, second and long situations, killing the Commanders defense. I want to see more of them, but Jordan McGee did look good. This isn't his first time obviously playing, but I feel like this is the first time where they trusted him in the red zone. That's big. You know, that's usually where you see Louvu, you see Wagner. So I was surprised to see Jordan McGee out there, but I loved it. I feel like we've seen Ben Sinnott more too. 2024 class showing out minus Hampton. Yeah, Hampton did not make it, obviously. And then Ben getting his reps with John Bates' injury. And I know the receiving isn't there. And people are going to look at the box score and stuff like that. How many times have we seen Ben Sinnott just block his tail off in the run game? Even this week with John Bates back, they were like, hey, Ben, we're still going to put you out there. He's pulling across the line. He's clearing the way. There was one time the play where he got knocked. I'm pretty sure it was him where he got knocked into Bill on that fumble, where it just D-tackle came through. I think it was Tart came through, knocked him off. But still, Ben Sinnott has been blocking his tail off. So shout out to Ben. Can't wait to see more of that receiving ability. Do you feel we keep Debo after the season and still draft a wide receiver in the first round? I think we definitely keep Debo. I don't know why people thought Debo was just not gonna be good. Like, after hearing him talk about his, the pneumonia he had last year and stuff like that, like, oh, people saying he's out of shape. Debo, like, I tried telling y'all leading up to that whole trade when I was, breaking everything down, breaking the news. I told y'all, Debo, that's the steal of the offseason for me so far. A 5th round pick for Debo Samuel. Almost had 100 yards against the Chargers. Like, this is a guy, big kick returns. He's scored many times already this season. We've seen him have big plays as that wide receiver one with Terry McLaurin out. Like I said, training camp, he was the guy for Jayden Daniels with Terry McLaurin sitting out, and then Terry gets hurt. Debo is back to being the guy once again. Noah Brown's out there. So I love seeing this. I'm glad that Cliff is starting to get away from those Debo runs. Just let him be a wide receiver that we know he can be. And I think you're seeing exactly what that looks like. I truly think Debo can be a wide receiver one on so many teams right now. So, of course, you get, Terry McLaurin for the next few years. Depends with that contract. There's an out. We're not going to get too much into it, but there's an out in 2027. But I think you want to get Debo for the next 2-3 years. And I mean, you still would. I say you still draft a wide receiver, first, second, third, heck, whenever. There's a lot of guys I like. Jerome Bernard. I like Boston. Obviously, Carnell Tate from Ohio State. This is a sleepy wide receiver class. But I appreciate the things I'm seeing out of Debo. I appreciate the breakout I'm seeing with Luke McCaffrey, because that was the biggest worry for me. Secondary was up there. Safety room was up there for me. But if something happened to Terry, if something happened to Noah Brown, which happens all the time, who's going to be that guy to step up? And it looks like Luke McCaffrey is going to be that guy. And I think, Jalen Lane's going to be one of those guys that slowly gets, weeded in as well. Zach Ertz and Sinnott need to be incorporated more in the pass game without scaring Terrence. I agree for sure. I am a little bit surprised. Zach Ertz, I thought he'd have a little bit more production by now. I'm not saying he's like playing terribly or anything, but that connection was so strong last year, especially with Bates out. I thought Zach Ertz would, have like 5-6 touchdowns by now. I hope Ben can develop as a pass catcher, because if he can, that will be lethal. And I think he will. I definitely think he will. They have to play more, says E. More younger players. Makes me wonder now if it's the coaches being lazy with allotting player snaps, like our man Bill, automatically giving vets more snaps instead of who's better. I think that's partially true, because you just have to think about trust. Who do you trust more? Do you trust Bobby Wagner more, or do you trust Jordan McGee more? Do you trust Bill Krosky-Merritt, or do you trust Chris Rodriguez more? Like, someone that you've already seen in these situations. But that's what I'm saying, and I'm glad you said that, because, it's not even just Bill. It's Jordan McGee. It's, I'm glad they started Tramus. I'm glad they started Josh Connolly Jr. off the rip. But some of these other young guys you drafted, I just want to see what they have. I don't want to, come back to it at the end of the year and be like, man, I wonder what Kane Madrana is going to be like. Maybe that was a bad pick. We don't know because we haven't seen enough of him to say, how we feel about him. But I'm glad you said that because I think they do. I think they definitely want to play younger players. But right now in the season, obviously you don't want to throw a young guy out there over a vet. They make a mistake that costs you a game. Then you look back on it and be like, man, maybe it was too soon. Michael Moses, look at Jordan McGee getting all the love tonight. I love it. I'd like to see more of Jordan McGee. The speed and flying downhill was a great sight to see. Let's also sprinkle in some more of Tyler Owens, speed and bad intentions. Yeah, both of them are just athletic freaks, to be honest with you. And yes, I want to get back to Bill because I think this was the breakout game. It's funny because leading up to this, we've heard like so much like little nuggets and stuff from either Cliff or Dan Quinn talking about Bill. Like the media will ask like, hey, how come when are we going to see more Bill? Like, what's this running back committee look like? It just sounds like they never said, oh, we want to see him do this. They just always made it seem like they've been missing something out of Bill that they really wanted to see. And for me, it's obviously pass protection because, he's a smaller guy, but then also the receiving ability. And I think we finally saw that receiving ability. He only had 2 catches, but he had 39 yards off of him. One was a 28-yarder, but then he also has 111 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. I mean, let me pull this out of the back of my head. He had 16 touches for 150 scrimmage yards, which averages out to 9.49, something like 9.4, 9.6 yards per touch. So he's averaging a first down almost every time he touches the ball, whether it's on the ground or in the receiving game. So I think this was the game. I think this was the breakout that they've been waiting for. Like, what does that workload look like? He got 14 carries. Chris Rodriguez only got 5. Jeremy McNichols only got 1. That's clearly the most he's had this entire season. So I think this shows you like the proof is in the pudding. Look at the stats. Look what he did. And it translated. The running game helped out the passing game with Jayden Daniels coming back. It opens up that deep throw to Luke. It opens up, that third down throw to Jalen Lane is honestly what really got things going for Jayden. But the running game helps out. You're not expecting the pass like over the last few weeks, honestly. So many people, we know Marcus Mariota is about to throw it a ton. They don't run it much. They don't run it on early downs. I felt like our offense was getting a little too predictable. And I think now they're finally going to start mixing it up. I was surprised hearing that 2 old linebackers got 100% of snaps after drafting 3 young guys from the past 2 years. Yeah, it honestly drove me nuts. So even though it wasn't a lot, I was still excited to see McGee out there a little bit. Has Kane Madrana even played a snap? I know he's been inactive a couple of games. He might have some special team snaps, but I don't recall seeing him on defense yet. But I might be wrong on that, but I'm like 90% sure he has not played on defense yet, but I'm pretty sure he might have got a few special team snaps. Bill's the best running back on the roster. I like C-Rod and McNichols. When they're given an opportunity, they show what they can do. I was at the Raiders game when McNichols had the 60-yard touchdown run. Yeah, that was nuts. And that's what I like. And that's what really blew my mind. Washington was second in the league before the Chargers game. Second in the league in rushing yards, but 17th in rushing attempts. That the math ain't mathing. You're really good at running the ball, but for whatever reason, you're getting away from it. And I know I've harped on it. These early deficits, on the road especially, you go down 14 points to the Packers. You go down 10 points in the first quarter against the Falcons. You go down 10 points again by the Chargers or against the Chargers, but Cliff stuck with the run game finally. Instead of getting desperate and be like, all right, this is going to be a track meet. We have to keep up. The defense is reeling. We're giving up, double-digit points in the second quarter already. Like, we have to keep up. Cliff said, let's calm it down. Let's stick to the run. The big plays will happen. Bill had he had 3 plays over 20 yards, multiple double-digit big plays. I mean, the run where he threw Derwin James off of him, that, for me, that's the play that showed me that he's him. You have Derwin James, one of the best, all-pro players and one of the best safeties in the league, coming from behind. And Bill just shrugs him off, slingshots Derwin James into his own teammate. They both fall down. And then Bill cuts out to the right, goes upfield. Luke's throwing blocks on the edge. Jayden Daniels is running behind Bill as fast as he can, trying to get some blocks. That play right there showed me this is what Bill can look like, but also this is what this rushing offense can look like. You throw Derwin James as a 7th-round rookie, you're throwing him off your back. He didn't even use his hands. He just shrugged him off and it like slingshot him 5 yards down the field. That is exactly what I wanted to see. Bill looked really good in the Raiders game too. Yeah, I mean, everyone's looked good when they got the touches. That's the thing. Kane has been inactive every week. Yeah, I think he might have just played in the preseason. Then predict the wide receiver lineup for the Bears. So obviously, Dan Quinn was asked about it today. Injuries. Noah Brown's going to come back. Terry McLaurin's going to come back, and it's just typical Dan Quinn right now. We're optimistic. I'm actually writing about it right now. I'm in the middle of an article right now. We're optimistic. We feel good, but we'll see later in the week. That's like, if there's one line, there's 2 things that Dan Quinn says all the time. We love competition, and I'll update you later on in the week. And with all the injuries Washington's had, that's, if you don't have to give an update on the injuries, then don't until like Friday. So obviously the players have a day off tomorrow, but they play on Monday night. So that's the one thing I'm really writing about right now, is that extra day helps you so much. Will Sam Cosmi come back? Will Noah Brown come back? Is it long enough for Terry to come back? I feel like Terry's going to come back this week. He didn't need surgery. He avoided the IR. You get that extra day. I feel like Terry comes back this week. Noah, if I had to pick one of those 3 between McLaurin, Brown, and Cosmi to not play this week, it'd probably be Cosmi. I think he's going to be the week after. They open up that 21-day window. But I feel like McLaurin honestly has the best chance to play on Sunday. And honestly, on Monday. And we need it. We needed the Jayden Daniels return. We needed that homecoming against the Chargers. We needed the downfield throw to Luke McCaffrey. We've been dying for it. But you know what we need? Something we have not gotten yet this season. That just patented Jayden Daniels dime. 50-yarder to Terry McLaurin on the outside. They tried it earlier in the season. Who was it against the Giants? He missed that downfield throw. It was almost there. Now, Marcus Mariota found Terry on the play where he got hurt when he had a stretch. But we are missing that Daniels and McLaurin connection. It was the second most explosive play duo in the entire league last year, behind only Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I want to see them get back to that. I feel like the running game is going to be established. I feel like, I'm telling you, that 3rd and 16 throw to Jalen Lane, that was just like, it was just like a light switch for Jayden Daniels. And he started throwing darts all game long. The lob when he's running backwards to Debo at the end of the game, even the throw to Chris Moore in the end zone where he like lunged for it and missed it. That was a perfect throw. We saw some elite Jayden Daniels throws on on Sunday to remind us this is who he is. This is how good he was. First 2 games, it was a little sluggish, it was a little rusty. Like, all right, where's the passing game? Like we're needing more. And it started like this last year too. It was a little bit slow, and then bang, it's like they just hit this certain mark in the season where the passing game just got going at a high level. And I think this is where we're starting to hit that. So if McLaurin can come back, this is the perfect time for Terry to come back. You have Jayden Daniels in his rhythm. The vibes are back up. You got your first road win. Now you're playing the Bears on Monday night. I know for Washington, this is just another matchup. I was at that Hail Mary game, probably one of the craziest ones I've been to. But Jackie over on Facebook, thanks for the comment. Do you think we can beat the Bears? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so funny just going through social media. We see Bears fans and some, content creators like making graphics already with like, the Rookie of the Year trophy. Like it was even close last year. Like, this is their Super Bowl. This is their get back. Like, as soon as they hired Ben Johnson, the first thing we saw was, oh, yeah, can't wait to play the Commanders. Like, what does that have to do with us? What does that have to do with Washington? Nothing. So I'm excited for this game. I'm glad it's a Monday night primetime game. Like I said, that atmosphere last year was absolutely insane. Like I said, that Hail Mary, I didn't want to leave the stadium. I could not believe that happened. Now, hopefully this one's not as stressful. But I think both teams are feeling good. And, obviously I'll do, some articles and some videos leading up to that game, talk about the matchups. But I'll give you a preview. The Bears have the worst rushing defense in the entire league right now. And you know who has the best rushing offense in the league right now? Washington. It is such a lopsided matchup. Washington should honestly run the ball. Let's see, we ran it 28 times against the Chargers. Washington should run the ball 45 times against the Bears. I don't even care about Jayden Daniels' stats in this game. I want them to just run the rock just at the Bears' face nonstop for 4 quarters. Like, make them give up. There is nothing more deflating for a defense than a team rushing for like 250 yards on you, and you're just exhausted. You're gassed. You got your defensive lineman over on the sideline with the oxygen tank. Like, in between series, run the ball right at them. Bears at us with the black unis will be fire. It'll be good. It'll be good. I can't wait. But like I said, it's the win against the Chargers is what builds this matchup for me. Because imagine if they lost this Chargers game, we'd be like, I don't even know about this Bears game. I don't even know. Now, I will say I do still have some concerns. Talked about Bill. We talked about the good stuff. I'm gonna throw a little bit of criticism out there. I think a lot of y'all will agree with this. I loved Mikey Sanders still getting that interception, the tip from Jerzon Newton at the line. I don't know. Mikey might have still picked it anyways. He was right there. He was in a good position. And I obviously loved that fumble from Quan Martin. That fumble, that was the play that completely changed the game. That was the turning of the page for me. Like that was it. If the Chargers were up 10-0, if they go down and score again on that drive, which they were moving. If they go up 17-0, the outcome of that game is completely different. Completely different. And Quan Martin, that's a season-changing play. I'm saying game-changing play. That might be a season-changing play. And Dan Quinn, that was the first thing he talked about at his press conference. He said, there's a lot of moments in the game. First thing I'm talking about is Quan freaking Martin causing that fumble on Quinton Johnson. And like I said, that changed everything. But I still do have some concerns with the secondary. This was Marshawn Lattimore's best game. Some sites have him, 1 catch for 6 yards. Some have him at 2 catches allowed for 14 yards. But still, much better than what we've seen. Quinton Johnson had the 3rd most explosive plays in the league coming into this game. Didn't have any against Lattimore. Didn't have any in the game, period, thanks to that fumble. But, I loved what I saw from the secondary, but there were still a lot of big plays that Justin Herbert picked up that were called back from penalties. So, if the secondary could build off of this and just carry that momentum into the Bears game and just frustrate Caleb Williams, it'll be a long night for the Bears. It'll be a long night for the Bears. What's going on, John? My boy's back. I'm back every Monday night or Tuesday night this week coming up with us playing on Monday night. But y'all can expect Victory Mondays every single week as long as we win. The penalty of roughing Tressway was a big one as well. Absolutely. Ladd McConkey thought he was doing something, breaking tackles, going up the sideline, hurdled Tressway. Shout out to Tress. He got laid out with that planting leg, and then all of a sudden he's trying to get the tackle and he's getting hurdled. But that was a massive penalty. That swung a lot as well. The coverage is still very sus. Absolutely. Jeremy Reeves either makes the best play possible or he makes a terrible missed tackle. Love him to death, but I still do have some concerns. But if Mikey Samuelson can play like he did, I think, I was looking at PFF grades. I think he was the highest graded defender on Sunday, which sounds right with how he played. Like the push out of Keenan Allen on that one catch, that would have been like a 20-yard catch or something like that, or like 15. Pushed him out. Obviously, the interception. There's a lot of big plays. We'll talk. He jumped off sides on the field goal. That was inexcusable. You can't do that. That's as bad as it gets. But after that, Mikey locked in. So if he can do that, you're going to be solid. Nicholas says if Lattimore comes alive, the defense is solid. Agree. That's another frustrating thing too, is you'll get these random games where Lattimore only allows 1 or 2 catches for like under 10 yards. And then the next week he's allowing 100 yards. He's allowing, Drake London, even when he's holding Drake London, to have these big catches. And it's inconsistent. But the pass rush showed up. And today I did my article about Dorrance Armstrong, because the guy's playing out of his mind. This is a guy who was like, 25, 26 years old, came over here from the Dallas Cowboys, followed Dan Quinn, followed Joe Wade Jr. He was a rotational guy behind Micah Parsons, and he wanted a bigger role. First year here, he had a solid year, finished strong, high hopes for his second year, and now he's playing out of his mind. He's second in the league in sacks with 5. He's third in pressure rate. I want to say it's 20.6%. Will Anderson's first with 20.8%. So he's right out of that mark. And we've just been waiting to see him get to the quarterback more. Kind of disappeared against the Falcons game. Penix Jr. had a career day. And then he comes out of nowhere, 2 sacks on Justin Herbert, pressures all day long. And you see what happens. Justin Herbert only has 166 yards. That's the lowest of the season. That's the lowest he's had for a while. I want to say it's like the 7th or 8th lowest he's had of his career. 166 yards for Justin Herbert. That's a win. And like I said, there was some big plays that got called back from the penalties and stuff. You can, get real detailed about it. But at the end of the day, that's a win for the defense. For this defense that we saw over the first 4 games, that's a win. Second down zone D was horrible. It has been all season. Second and long, for some reason, is like the hardest thing for the Commanders to cover. I have no idea why. Second, like if you are a team, you might as well just take a knee on first down, get that second long, because Washington is not stopping you on second and long. Am I going to the Bears game next week? Don't know. Not sure yet. I got to do a lot of articles and stuff afterwards, so we'll see. And the stadium's a little bit far for you, boy. Spooky Lukey, I love that. I'm so glad that I heard that tonight. Spooky Lukey, Scary Terry, J Demon 5. This is going to be a scary offense. We're about to get so festive in October. What's going on, Justin? Welcome to the stream, my guy. Good to see you. Good to see you. I don't know if DQ said something to Joe Witt, but the second half against the Chargers was the best the defense played all season. I agree. It's funny because it was going the way that it has been all season on the road. Like I said, you're going down double digits in the first quarter. I think the Packers was like first quarter and early second, but they went down 14 early. 14-0, 10-0 against the Falcons, 10-0 against the Chargers. I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. You're on the road. You start slow. Defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. And I'm telling you, it was that Quan Martin fumble was just like a jolt of electricity to the defense. And obviously Marshawn picks it up. The defense goes in the end zone. They're celebrating. They didn't even know what to do. Honestly, they're not used to it. That was a second turnover of the season then. And then Mikey got the third one after getting the first one last week. But that play right there was the jolt. And I'm hoping, just like the passing game, third and 16 to Jalen Lane was the jolt for me to get Jayden Daniels going. That fumble of Quan Martin should be the play that shows the defense, like, look, guys, we can play well. There is not a lack of talent on this defense with Trey Amos, Mikey Sainristil, and Marshawn Lattimore. That trio should be one of the best in the league, like talent-wise. Now, of course, it has not been there yet, but I'm just hoping they look at that performance and be like, guys, like, what are we doing wrong? Obviously, the communication's bad. Obviously, we're struggling with tackling, but we are so much better than what we've shown. Dorrance Armstrong's on pace for 17 sacks. That would be nuts. That would be nuts. Trey Hendrickson, who? D-line didn't even scheme often. They just pushed the LA O lineman man to man. Honestly, and they should have. Obviously, Rashawn Slater was out for the season before the season even started. Joe Alt had that high ankle sprain. They have backups. Pimpkins was getting penalties. He was even banged up during the game for the Chargers. The opportunities were there. And for me, I was like, if you can't get pressure on Herbert, who has been the most pressured quarterback over the last 2 weeks by a wide margin, then something's wrong. And they did. And like I said, that helped out a ton. Like the one play I keep going back to is when Wagner blitzed Herbert. And he's like running backwards and he throws it to Hampton and like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and Deron Payne just blows it up. Those are the kind of plays that I'm like, that's the pressure you need. Like Washington didn't have to blitz a lot, but when they did, it was effective. Whether it was Luvu, who they blitzed more this game than they have so far this season, and Wagner as well. The pass rush against a good O-line has not been good though. You think they can show up against the Bears? I think that's the test, John. And that's honestly one thing I want to see, because if you can get Caleb out of the pocket, sure, he can make some good throws. I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't, but if you get him out, he has those stupid throws in his back pocket that he will make from time to time. Shout out Josh Connolly as well. Absolutely. Terrible start to the season. We were talking about benching this man. They switched up the offensive line. And then against Matt Crosby, he started finding his groove. And he's been great ever since that Raiders game, honestly. Like I said, the Packers game, that was rough. We're going to throw that away. But he learned his lesson. And he went through the gauntlet of Abdul Carter, Micah Parsons, Max Crosby, Rashawn Gary, all these guys. And he came out, he came through that fire just cooking. So love what Josh Connolly Jr. is doing. And I felt like the protection for Jayden Daniels, there's a couple plays where it was like coverage, like sack, or like a coverage hit, like right at the line of scrimmage, where guys weren't open. So Jayden would kind of like step up in the pocket and then it would kind of just collapse on him. There's still a couple of those against the Chargers, but all in all, I felt like the offensive line did great against the Chargers defensive line. So it's not going to be perfect, but I feel like they did a good job keeping JD5 clean in that pocket. We're going to put an exclamation point on that win last year with the dub against that dub next week against the Bears. The defense still gave up some big plays. I wonder how you stop that. No idea how communication solves it. So I'm not going to be here much longer, but I just want to talk about communication real quick, because I had a lot of people reach out to me about, Josh, what are you talking about communication? And I shared out on Twitter like one play where Kyle Pitts goes up the seam. Jeremy Reeves, it's zone. You can tell it's zone. Reeves is in that strong safety role, and he just comes down into the flats and takes the flat route. I forgot who it was. And then Trey Amos is the corner. If it's cover 3, Trey Amos is supposed to, drop into coverage. He's supposed to be that, that third in the deep field, and he was supposed to pick up Kyle Pitts. But you could tell Reeves like yells something out as soon as the ball snapped, and Reeves is just like running downhill. And he takes the flat, but Trey Amos is already in the flat, and he's like, what are we doing? And then you look, and Pitts is wide open. It was the first third down of the game, and he's wide open up the seam. It was like a 15-yard gain or something like that. And then you see them talking afterwards, like, hey man, blah, blah, that's the communication with the pre-snap motion teams are doing, whether you're switching assignments or someone sees something and like, hey, like react, like this is what we need to do. And like you see hand signals all the time, like you see stuff all the time. But for whatever reason, they would not communicate well at all for the first few weeks. They were just, it's like they were playing afraid. And I think that's what it comes down to. They didn't want to give up the big plays, but in doing so, they were giving up the big plays. YP said Bill might be a top 5 rusher this season. Haven't seen explosiveness like that since Clinton Portis. Hey, Bill's a dog. And like I said, guys, this win was massive. I'll end it on this. This win was needed on so many levels. Seeing Jayden Daniels get that groove back in his first game back. He's back home. Family, friends, he was going to ball out in California, his return back home. But even with the brace on, I thought he looked good. He took some hits, got up, he was fine. That's what I wanted to see as well. I know a lot of fans wanted to see how he looked on the run, seeing, when he takes a hit, how is he good up? We saw all that. I don't know how long he's going to wear that brace for. We'll see at practice on Wednesday if he still has that brace on. Who knows? He might. But then I also think Bill Krosky-Merritt, his performance, his breakout should show Cliff Kingsbury to stick to the run game, but give Bill his touches. I mean, like I said, 150 yards on the ground, 16 touches, like a 9.4 average, whatever it is, 9.6, something like that per touch. That's insane, man. You got to feed the hot hand. And he, even with the fumble, they came back to him after that and said, look, man, we trust you. Close this game out. And then same with Debo. I think that to this day, that's been the steal of the offseason. Obviously, getting Laramie Tunzel, you had to trade a good bit of draft capital for him. But I think value-wise, trading a 5th-round pick for Debo Samuel, absolutely insane. So I think this game just showed us a lot of what we wanted to see. We know the defense can play well. We know they can get turnovers. We know we can rush the passer. And I think we just saw a complete game. Special teams. Matt Gay didn't miss any kicks. Like a big return by Luke McCaffrey again. This was a complete team win for the first time this season, in my opinion. We're not looking at it like, oh my gosh, it was a good win, but defense looks bad, or this let us down. Matt Gay is missing his kicks again. So and so is doing this. Like, I felt like this is a game where you're like, okay, this is the kind of team that Washington can be. They beat a really good Chargers team, even though they're banged up. Everybody in the league banged up right now. Injuries are not an excuse. Everyone's banged up right now. You showed critics you could win on the road against a good team with the Chargers, and now you're back home. You got the Bears. They did all their work. They invested the offensive line. They got the coach they wanted. Things are supposed to be clicking on all cylinders for them. We'll see. This is a test for both sides. So obviously through the rest of the week, like I said, guys, I'll drop a video either Wednesday or Thursday, just previewing more of the Bears game as I get into the statistics, get into the trends with the Bears side of thing, really break down how they play, what's their weakness, what's their strengths. I already talked about their run defense being the worst in the league, but so check out the videos. I'll drop one here on TikTok. I'll have shorts, YouTube. I'll have shorts, Facebook. I have some shorts coming up as well. You name it. But then also the articles all week long. A to Z sports.com. Go to the Commander site. That's my page. I'm running things there. And like I said, guys, let's cook it up. I'm glad to be back doing these live streams. I didn't know how many people would show up because it's the first one since, we rebranded the channel and everything. But, man, I appreciate y'all. So many of y'all showed up. So can't thank y'all enough. We'll go watch Monday Night Football. Enjoy the win. This is a stress-free Monday Night Football watch. And like I said, I'll see y'all later on in this week. Check out the articles and check out the videos on YouTube. Peace.